Shalom, Israel, shalom, shalom. Brother Nakwam, watchman for Israel, coming back at you with these precepts and another cold cut, giving, of course, our honor and glory to Yahweh, by Shema Mashiach, Wamalaki Washai. Double honors to the elect elders of the house of David that's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting and laboring for the second coming of our Lord Yahushai. A hearty, mighty shalom to all of the mighty men of the Most High God who are out there on the highways and byways, pushing this truth, magnifying the ministry, presenting their bodies as a living sacrifice, and enduring all things for the elect's sake. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the men that may not be out there on the highways and byways as of yet, but they're working on it. They're getting built up in the spirit. They're praying, they're fasting, they're studying, they're being diligent, and they're abounding in the work of the Lord. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the Akwath out there, the sincere sisters that are out there zealous, diligent, and on fire, moving in the spirit of our righteous foremothers. Shalom to the ancient men. Shalom to the children. Shalom to the elect of Israel scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. And shalom to everybody tuning in live through the spirit and power of Yahweh. By Shema Mashiach Yahushua, Yazian David, Yehuda, Yisrael, Shalom King, Kwame Yasha'Allah 12, Benjamin Youngwolf, Shalom King, Nigel Blend, Yaakov Israel, Don Israel to me, Yeshua Rael, Yeshayahu, Yafe Israel, HBK Lit, Yolanda Caesar, Shalom, right? King Asher, Shalom. And again, everybody else tuning in and that will tune in, Lord willing. Call Lord Yahweh Bashmi Abashai for the first day of the Feast of Dedication. It began so-called Saturday night at sundown, the opening day of the Feast of Dedication, a day of remembering Yahweh Bashmi Abashai and his works that he instilled within our forefathers, Mattathias, his 5 sons, Judas Maccabees, Jonathan, Simon, and the spirit of zeal, the spirit of courage, the spirit of wisdom, the spirit of direction, the spirit of selflessness, right? The spirit of nationhood, right? Imperialism and righteousness, right? For them to be able to restore the boundaries that were stolen away from them by the Grecians and these heathen, and to subdue all of the wicked that opposed themselves against the covenant and the will of the Most High God, right? For their spirit and their power and zeal to restore the temple, to dedicate the temple with precious substance and crowns and stones, and to remove the defiled stones, to rebuild the altar that the heathen profaned. So we want to give all thanks and praises and glory to Yahweh Bashmi Rashah for allowing us to have another feast of dedication, 8 days of being on fire, 8 days of being zealous, 8 days of examining your temple and cleansing yourself and your spirit and your mind, that you may be able to sacrifice wholly to Yahweh Bashmi Rashah. Right? So we're going to go into the third destruction and the third martyrdom through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmi Rashah. Let's kick it off with the book of Philippians. Actually, First Maccabees. That's what I want to go to. Right? And brothers and sisters should be in the spirit of First and Second Maccabees. It's okay to read other books, obviously. You have to, but every time around this season, you want to even refresh yourself on that history, on those timelines, on that genealogy, on the actual accounts, the spirits of righteousness that was on our fathers. You want to go back to that spirit. And we're going to touch on the third martyrdom, right? So let's go to First Maccabees. We're going to kick it off, chapter 4 and verse number 41, the third martyrdom, right? First Maccabees, chapter 4 and 41. It reads, "Then Judas appointed certain men to fight against those that were in the fortress until he had cleansed the sanctuary." So this was a time where there was an intense conflict. There was still conflict abroad, but Yahweh Bashmi Rashah had given them space and time for them to restore the temple in the midst of war, right? So he fought against the heathen that were in the fortress, and then he cleansed the sanctuary. And we're going to touch on what defiled the sanctuary. You had swine's flesh that was offered. You had uncleanness of harlotry going on in there, wickedness, and all manner of profanation, but it was cleansed. Verse 42. "So he chose priests of blameless conversation, such as had pleasure in the law, who cleansed the sanctuary and bare out the defiled stones into an unclean place. And when they had as they consulted what to do with the altar of burnt offerings, which was profaned, they thought it best to pull it down. lest there should be a reproach to them, because the heathen had defiled it, wherefore they pulled it down. So when you go through this history of our forefathers in the book of First and Second Maccabees, you read about Antiochus Epiphanes the fourth, who came out of the line of the Seleucids. Antiochus the second Theos, Antiochus the third Magnus, and Antiochus the fourth Epiphanes. Now, they went into the temple and they profaned the temple, and they were dealing with all manner of sorcery, idolatry, fornication, and just outright wickedness. Let's get that in First Maccabees. I want to open up another 1611. I want to open up two of these tabs. And let's go to the book of First Maccabees to get that background, right? To give that background. And we're going to touch on how these things are going to play out in the last days, and that there is no new thing under the sun. The Lord said, that which hath been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun, pursuant to Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter in verse 15. Now, I want to go to First Maccabees. I want to go to the 1st chapter, and I'm going to read verse number 41. Right? First Maccabees 4 and 41. This was a massive Hellenization. This is why Judas and his brethren had to cleanse the temple and the altar, because of what we're about to read now. First Maccabees 4 and 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. And as we go through these precepts, we want to be on a level where we're able to understand that all of these events are going to repeat themselves on the earth, right? The concept and the doctrine and religion, rather, of everybody becoming one, right? Everybody bowing down to the same God, everybody having the same financial system, everybody having the same code of morals, everybody having the same ethics, everybody agreeing to the same laws. All of these events that you see playing out today as laws are being passed to assimilate everybody into one is nothing new, right? We talk about this new world order, but this new world order that these devils are working on has been done before, and it's always been on the forefront of heathen kings to assimilate all people, to make them all one, and for two purposes. One is that all people can now stray away from the laws of the Most High God, and their primary reason is that the Israelites can get caught up in that and forget the laws of the Most High. And what's the consequence of the Israelites forgetting the laws of the Most High? If we forget the laws of the Most High, that means there's complete chaos on the earth, because we're the ones set up to be a nation of kings and priests on the earth. And the spirit of the Most High, if it's departed from us, it departs from the entire earth. So that's their purpose, is to remove the spirit of the Most High from the earth. A lot of the laws that you see these devils passing, it's actually spiritual. They understand spiritual matters. They have counselors and wise men and sorcerers, and they deal directly with the spiritual demon Satan. They have mediums that deal with familiar spirits, who's counseling them on how to remove the spirit of truth and the spirit of Yahweh and his son Yahweh Shai from the earth. And we're the physical counterpart of Yahweh Bashmi Yahweh Shai. We often talk about Esau as the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan. That's on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, we are the physical counterpart of Yahweh Bashmi Yahweh Shai, right? Righteousness on the earth. So he said all people have to be one. All speak Greek, all bow down to the pantheon of Greek gods, all become uncircumcised, all wear Greek laurels, wear a hat, go to the gymnasiums, all those heathen homosexual Greek customs. First Maccabees 1 and 42. And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed, according to the commandment of the king. Yeah, that happened during the Tower of Babel. Right? Remember, all of the children of men had a conspiracy to agree together to be one people. Right? Let me get that in Wisdom of Solomon real quick. Right? This is Wisdom of Solomon. Should have titled this The Third World Order, right? And the Third Martyrdom. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 10 and verse number. So we got a lot we want to cover today. We got some current events, some prophecies, right? We want to touch on everything through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmi Yahweh Shai. So this is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 10 and verse number 5. Moreover, the nations and their wicked conspiracy being confounded, she found out the righteous and preserved him blameless unto God and kept him strong against his tender compassions toward his son. So this conspiracy, this secret plot, right? A conspiracy is something that's done often behind the scenes. So there was a plan for the nations to come together to build the Tower of Babel, that they can fight against the Most High. When you go into certain accounts, fight against Yahweh, take down the angels. Because what other point do you need to go up to the third heaven, man? So the Israelites can get caught up out there in that madness. So they had a conspiracy, but the Lord preserved Abraham. That's the blameless man right here. Because Abraham was taken out as part of a remnant of the lineage of the sons of God to continue in the Most High's laws and promises. But you see that it was a conspiracy for them to build that Tower of Babel when they were all one, right? Let's go to Genesis 11, right? Let's go to Genesis chapter 11. And all these things are being done all over again. Genesis 11:1. And the whole earth was in one language and of one speech. And that's what's going on now. See, language and speech is, yes, it's physical languages, rather it's Dutch or Italian or Spanish, etc. But one speech and one language is really going to having the same mind. See, the Lord said, I would that ye all speak the same thing. Let me get that in the book of Colossians 1. 1 Corinthians 1:10. The Lord wants us to have the same speech, right? It wants us to have the same language. And that means he wants us to speak the same truth, be in the same spirit of repentance, obedience, having faith. Not literally every brother repeats every single word that every single other brother says verbatim until Yahweh returns. No. It's talking about having the same mind and the same judgment. 1 Corinthians chapter 1:10. Now I beseech you, brethren, by the name of our Lord Yahweh HaMashiach, that ye all speak the same thing, and that there be no divisions among you, but that ye be perfectly joined together in the same mind and in the same judgment. So that's how it was in the Tower of Babel. One language and one speech, that's the carnal level, right? The universal speech, but it's also spiritual. They had the same mind to build and to take away from the spirit of the Most High on the earth. So Antiochus, he knew about that, right? His mind was in like fashion. So let's go back to this in 1 Corinthians, like at 1 Maccabees 1:42. So everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed, according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. Right. So everybody said, you know what, man? The Greeks are in power. We love their idols. We inquired on how to serve their gods. We understood that they understood that if they allied themselves rather to the heathen, that they would be fine and taken care of financially and any other reason. And this is what happened again, like I quoted or went through the Tower of Babel, or went through these different accounts of our forefathers. Even Abraham's fathers began to serve other gods. They began to serve these Chaldean gods, these Cushite gods, these Babylonian gods. And Abraham was the one that withstood that. So there's always going to be a remnant of the sons of God who do not consent unto the laws of the land. Right? Let me get that in the book of Judith, the 5th chapter. And I did a cold cut not too long ago on what really happened to Abraham and Ur of the Chaldees. Now, and I went into how Abraham through the Spirit didn't conform to that world order of all bowing down to that Babylonian system. This is the book of Judith, chapter 5 and 6. This is Achior the Ammonite giving Holofernes, who's the captain of the Babylonian army, he's giving them a rundown about our forefathers who didn't bow down. Because at this time, even in the book of Judith, all of the other nations bowed down to Nebuchadnezzar except the Israelites. So Holofernes said, well, who the hell are these people that they won't bow down to me? Achior the Ammonite, being familiar with the Jews, because he's closer in proximity, the Ammonites, to Judea than that of Holofernes' people, he knew our history. Now here's what he told them. Judith 5 and 6. These people, or this people, are descendant of the Chaldeans. So we geographically come out of modern day Iraq, of the Chaldees, right? That's where Abraham was from. Modern day Iraq. He wasn't in the jungles of Africa swinging around in a tree with a bone in his nose. We're from the Far East, a very Semitic people, a very ancient people of judgment. Verse 7. And they sojourned heretofore in Mesopotamia, because they would not follow the gods of their fathers, which were in the land of Chaldea. So that's why Terah took Haran, or took Abram, took his son, took his family, and they went into went into Mesopotamia, because they weren't going to bow down to those other gods. Now, Terah still served those other gods, but the Lord was looking to choose Abram. For they left the way of their ancestors and worshiped the God of heaven, the God whom they knew. So they cast them out from the face of their gods, and they fled into Mesopotamia and sojourned there many days. So our ancestors were following other gods. When you go through the lineage of the sons of God, you have Adam and Seth and Enos and Cain and Mahalalel and Jared and Enoch and Methuselah, Lamech and Noah and Shem, Shem's 5 sons, and then you had Arphaxad and Salah and all these different men, Eber, Salah, Reu, all those different men. A lot of those men was going off. Their brethren were going off. So we left the way of idolatry. There's always a time where our people are going to be conforming to the heathen. Really, there hasn't been a time in our history where you didn't have Israelites serving other gods. It's always been a thing. And that's where the Most High always plucks out a remnant, or chooses a small few to continue on steadfast in his laws. And what happened? They cast us out. We got persecuted in of the Chaldees. So we had to flee out. Now, when you go into that history, they say, they tried to get Abraham to serve other gods. Some say he was thrown in the furnace. Some say they was looking to kill him. You have those other sources. They're not always credible, but they do speak to how we were being persecuted. And regardless, independent of that, the Bible tells you what happened. The Bible tells you that we had to flee. So it's not uncommon to hear about in 1 Maccabees 1 and 43 that many of the Israelites consented to his religion, because that's always been a thing. Even from the days of Abraham, from the days of the post-flood, right? You have people always going to hell off, huh? And with the Lord, what the world calls politics and, everybody being one, the Most High calls it a religion. So Babylonianism is a religion. Heathenism is a religion. That's the world's, and we've said that before by the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai, the world's number one religion is not Christianity. The world's number one religion is not Islam. The world's number one religion is, in fact, Babylonianism, right? Which is an amalgamation of Edomite philosophies that come from the elites. That's Babylonianism. Okay, let's read on. Right, so we sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. 1 Maccabees 1 and 44. For the king has sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land. Just like now, our people are following the strange laws of the land. And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days. So no more Feast of Tabernacles, Day of Atonement, no more memorial of the blowing of the trumpets. All that was profaned. And pollute the sanctuary and holy people. Set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts. And that's wicked, man. That's abominable, profane, madness, to be offering up swine's flesh and unclean beasts, man. Horses and dogs and, tigers and creeping things. That they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation. So they have to have laws and a systematic process to be able to send men to the different cities of Judah to get us to become Hellenized. They didn't snap their fingers and we knew heathen customs. They brought that amongst us. And through force, we had to conform. It was a get down or lay down situation. And that's what's coming on the earth. See, the point of this lesson is to show you, again, what happened then, it's going to come on the earth now, right? It's coming for us, the servants of the Most High, who uphold the laws and the commandments and the faith of Yahushua. That persecution and what you see now is coming back in a big way. And a lot of men, like our fathers, are going to have to lose their life, straight up. You're going to have to lose your life and put your life down for the Most High. Or you're going to conform, sell out, and be cast out into utter darkness. First Maccabees 1:49. Here's the whole purpose. To the end, they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. So the whole purpose was for us to forget the laws of the Most High. That's why all these laws are set up, this whole melting pot system, this entire all nations coming together. We're all one, rainbow coalition, hand joined in hand. It's not for the Chinese man to learn the Indian man's customs. It's not for the Indian man to learn the Italian man customs. The whole purpose is for the Israelites is to forget their own laws because they got mixed in with all these other nations. First Maccabees 1:50. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. So that's straight up, man. If we didn't get down with the commandment of Antiochus, there was no, okay, this guy's going to jail, or, we're going to get this guy a fine. We're going to fine him, 30 shekels of silver. No, the commandment was you were straight up. You were put to death. Right? It's like you were put to death. Verse number 51. In the selfsame manner wrote he to his whole kingdom, and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city. So he went to this city and then that city and Bethsaida and Bethany and Modin and Jerusalem and Lachish and all these cities to get us to offer swine's flesh. Verse 52. Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit, everyone that forsook the law, and so they committed evils in the land. So all of the wicked bowed down. Verse 53. And drove the Israelites into secret places, even wheresoever they could find or they could flee for succor. And that's going to happen on the earth again, right? And the Lord said, when they persecute you in one city, flee to the next. When you see the abomination and make it desolate, we touched on that plenty of times. Flee ye to the mountains. We're going to have to flee. The Lord said in 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter, make you ready to the battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims on the earth. You might, be in one part of America, and by the time Yahushua return, you're in another part. You might be in a forest. You might be fleeing in the jungle. You might be in some alley somewhere, right? Some abandoned city that was destroyed in a race war, looking for succor. We're going to be public enemy number one. First Maccabees 1:54. And brothers have to ask themselves, are you ready for this? This is the reality of what's going to come to the servants of the Most High God. And all of the folly in Israel, all of the things that are superficial and vain, all those things aren't going to save you in those days. Only Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is going to save you. And he's going to render unto every man according as his work shall be. Right? So your spirit should be getting ready in the spirit, preparing your mind and your body and soul for the persecution that is inevitable. That should be our primary focus, building up ourselves in a holy faith and being without spot and being without blame and cleansing our spiritual temples from uncleanness and profanation. First Maccabees 1:54. Now, and I'm going to say this, when Yahushua returns, he's not coming to cleanse your spiritual temple, right? He's not coming to do that, man. The Lord said, if you defile your temple, you're going to be destroyed. So he's coming to destroy temples. Yahushua's not coming, okay, let me come to this brother. Okay, brother, let me lay my hands on you, and I'm going to rid you of all your uncleanness. I'm going to cleanse your temple. No, he's coming to break down temple. So if you don't cleanse your temple is going to get broken down. First Maccabees 1:54. Now the 15th day of the month Caslu, and the 145th year, they set up the abomination of desolation upon the altar, and builded idol altars throughout the cities of Judah on every side. So the abomination of desolation are the Greeks going into the sanctuary, the temple, and putting swan's flesh on the altar to profane the temple and the spirit of righteousness and the Most High there. And burnt incense at the doors of their houses and in the streets. And when they had rent in pieces the books of the law, right, Salaki, bear with me. Right, let me grab this charger. Salaki, bear with me. Right, Salaki. Right, Salaki, bear with me. So when they rent in pieces the books of the law, it's talking about the scriptures that our forefathers had, and they tore them in pieces. So if you have a Bible, now you got to understand your Apocrypha, your Bible, your King James Version, they're going to be tearing all that in pieces. They're going to be kicking your door down, and your Bible is going to be classified, right? Yeah, this is let me grab this. Right, your Bible, you might have, some Hebrew scriptures, right? You might have your Apocrypha. This is going to be classified as terrorist paraphernalia, right? A terrorist document, a document of treason, a hate document, hate paraphernalia. I'm just thinking loosely of the term. I don't know exactly what verbiage they're going to use, but they're going to come after these Bibles. Anti-American documents, anti-American manuscripts, paraphernalia, they're going to push all of those, man. You brothers that know law, you can think of those terms that they're going to use. They're going to use legal terms to justify getting rid of the Bible because of the Hebrew Israelites and our faith and ministry going out there prophesying the destruction of America. So they're not coming after your gold. They're going to spoil our houses. We're going to touch on that. We know that. They may take what they want and rifle your house. But the main two things they want is they want you and they want this Bible. And they're going to be burning the Bibles. Right? Remember, even so-called Hitler, he was burning books. Now, they paint him out to be the worst man of all time, but we know what really went down. Right? We know what really went down and why he was doing what he was doing. And we've covered that before. So this is a mass burning of books. They didn't say, can you sign it? Sign here. I remember growing up at the library, man, you had to take that little card out, write your name in, put the date in, and you had to bring it back in 7 days. And they weren't doing that. They was taking these books and they had this big pile and they was burning them straight up. And if you resisted, you tried to hide your books and they came after you. So book burning is a way to destroy the culture and the remembrance and the documents of another nation of people that goes against that foreign policy or that a nation's policies, right? And it's not just Hitler who did that. Book burnings in history. This has always been a thing. All right, look at this. Book burning has a long symbolic history of suppressing ideas. See that? And they want to suppress ideas. They want to suppress the laws of the Most High. Most famously by Nazis in 1933 to quote unquote un-German literature, but also by ancient empires, Qin Dynasty, China, the Spanish Inquisition, Luther's Reformation, and modern regimes often targeting Jewish political or heretical works to control thought and culture, symbolizing intolerance and censorship. So you can't get around that. And they're going to target this Bible, man. This Apocrypha. All these channels that you see on YouTube, they're going to be done soon. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. They're going to just be shut down. The men of the Most High, you're going to be blacklisted, exiled. They have these different platforms, Plantier, and I went into a few of them, where they link up your financial system to your job, to to the banks, to grocery stores, to your health records and your immunization records, and all that's going to be linked all up. And if you are on that blacklist, you're going to be cut out there. So they did it in ancient China, the Spanish Inquisition. Check this out. Spanish Inquisition in the 1490s burned Hebrew Bibles and other Jewish books in Spain. You see that? They burned Hebrew Bibles. You had a lot of Israelites that was in Spain at that time, kind of really still doing their thing. You had the Moors. You had Israelites who were still practicing the laws and the commandments. And when them Edomites came back into power and were exiling the Moors and destroying the rest of the Jews, they were burning up our Bibles, translating them, making slave Bibles, doing their own thing, whitewashing the images. All right. So let's see another one. Brazil, they were burning dictatorship books. So this is nothing uncommon, right? You can read more about this on your own, right? Eliminating, here's their symbolism and motivation. Eliminating ideas deemed subversive, immoral, or contrary to a regime's ideology. All right. So let's go back to this. First Maccabees 1:56. And when they had rent in pieces, meaning torn pieces, the books of the law, which they found, they burnt them with fire. And wheresoever was found with any the book of the testament, or if any consented to the law, the king's commandment was that they should put him to death. So they put him to death, man. Chopped their head off, stabbed them, burned them. Thus did they by their authority unto the Israelites every month, to as many as were found in the cities. Now upon the 25th day of the month, they did sacrifice upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of God. And on that same day, Judas Maccabees cleansed the temple. So they profaned it on the 25th day. And then years later, Judas Maccabees and his brethren cleansed the temple on the 25th day. That's why we have the Feast of Dedication. At which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that have caused their children to be circumcised. So you're going to have women that are going to get put to death. If you get caught, with a head wrap on, you look like a sister, you got fringes on with a border of blue. I got a lot of sisters taking their hair wraps on, dyeing their hair blonde, doing, not wearing dresses, putting pants back on, sweatpants on, hiding their Bibles, putting a fitted cap on their son head, making them sag his pants and say, I'm celebrating Halloween this year. They're coming after us. I'm not getting, no. I'm going to tell you something. If you and your children got to die for the laws of God, if you're a single mother or, your husband dies and he's persecuted, he's in the FEMA camp, and some woman, you're going to be caught out there. Because a lot of men of the Most High, you have wives, you have children. You might be in a concentration camp. They might separate you from your children and your wife. And she's going to have to be fully resolved in her mind, even if she's not near her husband, to die for the laws of the Most High. He's not always going to be there to encourage her, to strengthen her, to remind her. She's going to have to do this thing. That's why it's important for even you sisters, man. We often talk about the men, but let's take 30 seconds or so to talk about the sisters. It's very important for you to build up your faith too, man. Because you got children. Your children, they're looking to you for you to make that decision. They're not going to be able to make that decision on their own. They don't have the wherewithal. You got little children and 8-year-olds and 3-year-olds, and you're going to have to say, you know what, put me and my children to death. And we're going to touch on 2 Maccabees, the 7th chapter too, man, concerning a woman with her 7 sons, which is a key example that the Most High gave for everybody, but chiefly you mothers, you sisters out there. She watched her 7 sons get tortured right in front of her very eyes and actually encouraged them to continue on with that process to get put to death. Right? So women are going to get caught out there, man. Right? You have to pray for faith too. And if the Most High puts it in, that the Most High puts it in your spirit to give your life willingly for the laws of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Because you may be by yourself at times. You might be away from your children. They might torture your children in front of you, try to kill your husband in front of you. So a lot of sisters, make sure you get your spirit right too, man. Because you're going to be looking at death head on. 1 Maccabees 1:61. And they hanged the infants about their necks and rifled their houses and slew them that had circumcised them. So they was hanging infants. These damn devils, they weren't just lynching men, they were lynching infants. Taking infants, putting a rope around their neck, stringing them up on a tree, and lynching them. And little infants were hanging. But yet the so-called white man, so they say, can make it. That's the new thing. He can make it. All you got to do is repent from this. He could be on the earth in a regeneration right now. As long as he repents, the Most High is going to forgive him for doing all of this. It's such a sick, nasty, defiled doctrine. But I digress, man. Right? They're going to get the judgment as a nation. And they can't escape for what they've done in time past. We have inherited the sins of our fathers, and they are not. How much more the wicked and the abominable and the men against the will of God. 1 Maccabees 1:62. Howbeit, many in Israel, now this is the beautiful thing. Howbeit, many in Israel were fully resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing. So you always had that remnant that said, you know what, man? They was cussing them out, man. F you, man. Now that's modern day language. You so-and-so, man. Hey, put me to death, you so-and-so, man. Chop my damn head off. Hey, like one of my favorite quotes in the Bible, when Eleazar said, hey, man, send me to the grave. Get me up out of here, man. Right? Stop playing. Send me to the grave. That's the spirit you want to have, man. And look, chop my damn head off, man. You know? Now the Lord said, meditate not in your hearts what you're going to say, because it's going to be given to you in that same hour from the Father. But you're going to say some bold stuff, man. You're not even going to believe that it's coming from you. Like, damn, I had that in me. Because you might, your heart might be pounding you in the flesh. The Apostle Paul said, without were fightings, within were fears. Heart beating, stomach drop, nervous. But then that spirit come on you. And you're going to be bold. You might get this great speech. You're going to get a history from the time of Genesis. You might give a 20-minute speech from the time of Genesis, what happened in Maccabees. You might quote what happened to the 7 sons, to Eleazar, to Daniel, to Jeremiah, to Hananiah, Azariah, Mishael. And you might just, Stephen, our Lord, our King, Yahushua. You might be cussing these heathen out. And the Most High is going to shut their damn mouth. Because you are fully resolved not to eat any unclean thing. 1 Maccabees 1:63. Wherefore they chose rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meats, and that they might not profane the holy covenant. Then they died, and there was great wrath upon Israel. And that's what you call martyrdom. Choosing rather to die and dying for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is martyrdom. Right? That's called martyrdom. Let's get that. Let's get that definition. So we had this happened in the Greeks. That was the first martyrdom, massive martyrdom with the abomination of desolation. This happened in the days of the Romans. Israelites were put to death. The third martyrdom is coming when they come after us, right? In these last days. And we're going to have to be martyrs for Yahweh Basham Yahushua. See, everybody's not just going to be here alive when Yahushua returns. Now I'll say this. Let me reframe that, because we understand that God, the Most High, he's not the God of the living. I mean, God of the dead, but of the living. So at the resurrection, all are going to live unto him. But there are men prior to Yahushua returning that are going to be put to death for not conforming to this new world order. Here's the word martyr. Here's the etymology of it. One who bears testimony to faith, especially one who willingly suffers death rather than surrenders his or her religious faith. So you're going to have to be able to suffer willingly, man, because you're not going to surrender. They might bring swine's flesh to you. That's in 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter. The Lord said you should be idle. And they're going to try to make you eat things offered unto idols. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and a reproach and trodden underfoot. So they're going to have these abominable feasts all over again. Let me get that in 2nd Ezra. I quoted it. And you're going to say no. And again, they might threaten your life. They might chop a finger off. See, this truth is real, man. This truth is real. They might have your son in front of you, chop his head off, stab him in the stomach. And they're going to say, eat the swine's flesh, or I'll stab him again. And you're going to have to make a decision in that day. And the question is do you love your son more than the Most High? Do you love your wife more than the Most High? Do you love your daughter more than the Most High? Do you love your brother more than the Most High? The Lord said, he that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. So you're going to have to weigh things in a balance, and that you're going to have to make a quick decision and faith and not put flesh over the spirit. 2nd Ezra chapter 16, and let's read verse number 70 or 68. Salakia. 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and 68. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. So this great multitude coming against us is the military of the so-called white man. Let me get that real quick in Revelation 12 and 17. That's that great wrath, right? Revelation chapter 12 and verse number 17. Let me get a quick precept on that wrath. Revelation chapter 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. So here, let's see what's going to happen with that great wrath. Let's jump down to verse 17. And the dragon, that's this modern day Roman Empire, right? This military of America, primarily. Their task force, their SWAT teams, their National Guard, their Army, their Marine Corps, and they might send the Navy SEALs after us, man. You know? And the dragon was wroth with the woman. The woman is Israel. It's Jeremiah 6 and 2, Isaiah 54 and 5, many other precepts. And went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of the Most High and have the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach. So a new war is coming. There's going to be a massive war, primarily within the soils of Babylon the Great. The Lord said, one people shall stand up to fight against another with swords in their hands. And on one level, that's talking about us being persecuted. So they're going to make war against us. They're going to bring you into these feasts, these rooms, and there's going to be swine's flesh and clams and oysters and horse meat, creeping things, tiger meat, you know, damn spiders, hogs, boars. It's going to be this damn spread, or however they decide to do it. They're going to say, we'll let you free. They're going to pull your name up. They may call you by your Hebrew name. You know, they might have 50 of them, because we're going to be thrown in these prison camps. Let's get that in Revelation 2 and 10 real quick. And it may be 20 to 50 in these prisons. Revelation chapter 2 and 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So you have to be willing to die. You're going to be in these prisons for 10 days. 10 is a number of completion. Not a literal 10 days. It can't be literally 10 days, or it could be 3 days, or it could be 30 days, or it could be 35 days. It could be 25 days. The focus is not, well, how long am I going to be in there? The focus is, what spirit should I be in if or when I am in there? And that the whole purpose is I have to be faithful even if I have to die for the truth. And that there's a reward for my death. I am reassured that if I die, it will not be in vain, but I'm also going to get a crown of life. So that's my motivation, to be resurrected and to receive a crown of life. Now, we're going to be in those prisons, man. Esau has FEMA camps. It's not a myth. Anybody that says that's a conspiracy, that's a myth, they don't know what's going on. You're delusional. You're living in some bugged out fantasy to believe that the Bible is not real. These prisons are real, man. Don't you know they have prisons for I can't think of the exact word for top-notch criminals. I can't think of the verbiage right now. They have maximum security prisons. They have solitary confinement. They have prisons in islands. They got all types of prisons. And they're going to have specific places for the men of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. And they're going to come with that offering. And they're going to try to make you eat those things. Let's read on 2nd Esdras, chapter 16 and 69. Actually, let me read 68 again. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. So you're going to be constrained against your will. They're going to try to make you eat unclean things. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden underfoot. Right? So that's how it's going to go. It's going to be a big deal, and men are going to get put to death for the name of the Most High. That's martyrdom. Let's go to Revelation chapter 20 and 4. So this is the reality. All right? This is the reality of what's to come. Revelation chapter 20 and 4. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua and for the word of the Most High, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Hamashiach 1,000 years. So John saw men that had their head chopped off for this truth. Beheaded. So this devil got guillotines. He may have an axe, man. Right? But more than likely to have guillotines and other modern day technology to chop your head off at a fast rate, clean and precise. No blood kind of jam up the machine. Doesn't kind of, rust out like an automatic damn weapon. May have AI-based technology, algorithms, a speaker where it calls out your name, all types of madness these devils got. It has a number on the top of it. As they chop off each head, it has a number 1. Then as the next man gets chopped off, it goes to number 2. And as you go up to look at the guillotine, it might be number, 6. And you're looking up, hey, and you're gonna have to know this thing. You might be in that cell, and they're gonna call your number. And before you get out there, they may say, look, eat this swine's flesh, and you'll go home. You'll be fine. They may show you all your clothes. You know how you get out of jail, or they got all your clothes in that bag. Look, these are your clothes. They might show your family right there behind that two-way glass. You can see your family in there. Yeah, your family's waiting on you. You don't have to do this. Just denounce Yahweh and his son Yahweh Shai. Take this Bible and put it in the fire. And you don't have to have your head chopped off. Now, I don't know exactly how they're going to do it, but these are the things that they have done in time past to try to get our fathers to conform to this system. So don't be surprised, man. Men are going to deal with these guillotines and deal with this beheading. And this is going to happen because they see us building the altar. They see us building the temple. Whenever we begin to build the temple and the altar, these heathens start unleashing hell on us. Let's get that in First Maccabees 5, right? So we cleansed the temple and the altar, and the heathen got mad, man. Right? This First Maccabees chapter 5 and 1. Now when the nations round about heard that the altar was built and the sanctuary renewed as before, it displeased them very much. So after we cleansed the temple and the altar, and the heathen got mad, man. It says nations. How are the nations? How are the nations treated individually when the Lord said as a whole they're mad? And it said very much. As we repent, as we put on our fringes, grow our beards out, love our families, keep the feast days, denounce idols, come out of religions, come out of the churches, stop spending money on wicked holidays, stop conforming to this new world order, calling this damn devil a devil to his face in righteousness, shaking a hand, prophesying the end of the world, speaking of the missiles, speaking of World War III, Armageddon, gathered together, it displeased them very much. Verse 2, so they don't love you, man. Wherefore, they thought to destroy the generation of Jacob that was among them. And thereupon, they began to slay and destroy the people. So this is coming again. Because we built the altar, or we're currently finishing up the altar. We're almost done. We're almost done building the altar. Now, you may say, well, where's the altar at? I've traveled all over the world. I don't see the Hebrew Israelite altar. Is it in D.C.? Is it in Miami? Is it in Kansas City? Is it in Seattle? No. It's a spiritual altar that's being built. And in like manner, they were vexed and displeased when a physical altar was built. They're mad as we begin to build this spiritual altar. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 19. That's where they're going to persecute us, man. Because we're building the altar. And we're coming back as a nation to offer up spiritual sacrifices to Yahweh Shai Shai. Right? This is Isaiah chapter 19 and verse number, this whole thing is good. I'm going to start at 16. Isaiah chapter 19 and 16. And that day shall Egypt be like unto woman, and they shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over. So as the Most High judges the nations, and they see that judgment from the Most High, they're going to be fearful. And we're the ones shaking the hand on the physical level. So they're in terror. They're in fear. You had the brothers in St. Louis. They're making petitions and posts out there. Not the brothers are, but the heathen. The heathen are making petitions and posts to get them off the corners, man. You know, they're making TikToks. And how do we stop St. Louis from doing the work of Yahweh Shai Shai? Those brothers, there's few of them, but they're shaking the hand. They're causing hell, right? They're building barricades. They're manipulating the structure of the city. They're rebuilding the city, tearing stuff down, building stuff up, because the word of the Most High is going out. They say people are scared to leave their apartments, to being condemned, you know? So this is the shaking of the hand. Isaiah 19 and 17. And the land of Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt. Every one that maketh mention thereof shall be afraid in himself, because of the counsel of the Lord of hosts, which he hath determined against it. So we're a terror to the land of Egypt. That's why they call us a terrorist organization. The Black Hebrew Israelites are a terrorist organization. And let me pull this up. Where's this at? I had this terrorist. So this is from November 18th, 2025, about a month ago. It says the United States, this is from as/coa.org. All right. The United States designated more terrorist groups in 2025 than in the last 10 years combined. You see that? So this thing is speeding up. They're determining who's against the New World Order. Some of these groups are damn Edomite groups, man. And they're going to come after all these terrorist groups. And we're going to get caught out there. We're going to be the number one. They're going to call us, and they know deep down inside we're the number one group that they're going to call a terrorist organization. Now, and we're not physically doing any terrorizing, but we're doing spiritual terrorizing. It's all spiritual. That's why it says in Isaiah 19 and 17, and the land of Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt. Let's go into the word terror. Let's go into that word. Right? Here's the word terror. Haggah. It says terror, a reeling in terror. Right? It says vertigo. And when you got vertigo, your mind all messed up. You can't see straight. You look up, you get dizzy. You look down, you get dizzy. You know, your spirit ain't right. So they're going to be in terror. All right, let's go back to this. It says, this year alone, the United States government designated 19 groups as terrorists, a massive spike compared to the last decade. Several are criminal organizations allegedly involved in trafficking drugs. Of those designated as foreign terrorist organizations by the State Department this year, 8 are drug cartels such as Cartel de Sinaloa, Cartel de Jalisco Nueve Generacion, Slovakia for the pronunciation, Cartel de Noreste, La Nueve Familia Michoacana, Cartel de Golfo, Carteles Uendos, Tren de Aragua, and Mera Salvatrucha. All right, you brothers that speak Spanish, you know how to pronounce that. Verse Slovakia, reading on in 2001. Since 2001, the majority of the United States designations have been related to global war on terror operations and included nearly 36 Islamic terrorist or Islamic extremist groups. Those have ranged from more established groups in the Middle East like Al-Qaeda, the Islamic State, to offshoots like Islamic State Khorasan province, and others operating in parts of Africa like Al-Shabaab and Jama'at Nusrat al-Islam, while Muslimin, right? So they have these different terrorist groups, you know? Like you say, well, I don't see the Israelites on there. We're already on there, man. Right? We're already on the Southern Poverty Law Center. We're already on these groups, but they're adding more and more and more. They're trimming the fat and seeing, here's what you can say on the internet. Here's what you can't say. Here's what you're publicly allowed to do. Here's what you're not allowed to do. Out there in Europe and Canada, Australia is way more strict. You can't even really publicly preach out there. You know? You can't publicly preach. Let me see if I can find that. Public preaching. If they haven't banned it already, I know they're beginning to put those laws together. right? It may be, let's see. No, it's not just that. It's actually Western countries who are beginning to ban. Yes, it's illegal in other foreign countries. Let me see if I can do Canada. It's not, they're beginning to shut this down. Okay, now check this out. While Canada generally protects religious freedom, the province of Quebec is implementing new laws to restrict public prayer and religious symbols in public spaces as part of its secularism. The word secularism really means worldly. It means of the world, right? Let me pull that up. Secularism means of the world, right? Secular. Secular, in reference to clergy, right, or the church doctrine, means living in the world, not belonging, Salakia, to a religious order. Worldly, secular, pertaining to a generation or age. So if they're promoting secular laws, they're promoting the world. They don't want any knowledge of God, any knowledge of the Bible, any knowledge of truth. They just want the world, right? The lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. If you're out there in Canada promoting that, you're fine. It's secularism. Novus seclorum, or what is it? Order, new world order, right? That's what it says on the currency. Novus seclorum order, new world order. So they want you to promote the world and their order and their agenda. Now you can say, well, that's just Canada. It's not just going to stop at Canada. They always use Canada, Australia, and Western Europe as testing grounds to see if there's any pushback, to look at metrics of resistance. Are there any riots? Do people accept it? What are people tweeting about, posting about? Are people accepting this? Is there any, they look for all that. So it's going to come to America. Public prayer, camps, shaking a hand, prophesying, all that is coming to an end. So what else are they looking to do? Right? They're looking to aiming to remove religious displays from government institutions. Wow. Potentially impacting street preaching, especially if disruptive, though general freedom of expression still exists under the charter. So they're going to shut that down. They're going to say it's disruptive. You can't say that. No more public street preaching. So camps are coming to an end. Not necessarily camps, but going out there holding camp. That's what brothers, man, you better hold camp as much as you can. Put your brick in, because once the Most High lay the hammer down by using these laws, you're going to be like, man, I should have went to camp. Man, I should have went out there, did a fly mission. I should have shook the hand, prophesied, taught the people, sealed the elect, pushed the word, prophesied even to the damn wind. So it's going to impact street preaching. So they're pushing these laws of terrorism and all this madness, man. Right? And they're going to do these executions. Let's go back to Isaiah 19 about this altar being built. So we're a terror to the land of Egypt, and we're going to go into how the altar is being built. Isaiah 19 and 18. And that day shall 5 cities in the land of Egypt speak the language of Canaan, and swear to the Lord of hosts, one shall be called the city of destruction. So a remnant is going to come back to the Most High. That's all it's saying, right? 5, about some Israelites are going to turn back to the Lord and some are not. Language of Canaan represents the truth, the knowledge, right? The Hebrew on the carnal level, but spiritually speaking righteousness and equity and godliness. Verse number 19. And that day shall there be an altar to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, in the midst of the land of Egypt, and a pillar at the border thereof to the Lord. So there's an altar that's being built right now where spiritual sacrifices such as prayer, throwing up the curses on the heathen, teaching the Israelites the sacrifice of righteousness and godliness, keeping the laws, all these things are sacrifices. Our bodies are a living sacrifice, pursuant to Romans chapter 12 and 1 on down. So we read in 2 Maccabees 5 that when we built the altar, it displeased the heathen very much. As we begin to build this new altar, it's displeasing the heathen very much. So they're putting these laws together to stop public preaching and to begin to put together strategies to publicly execute us and put us to death, put us in prisons for doing this work as they begin to label us domestic terrorists and authors of treason and mischief. So what is this altar for? Let's read on. Isaiah 19 and 20. And this shall be for a sign and for a witness unto the Lord of hosts in the land of Egypt, that's modern day America, for they shall cry unto the Lord because of the oppressors, and he shall send them a savior and a great one, and he shall deliver them. So we're going to cry unto the Lord with this altar, right? We're going to cry unto the Lord. And as this altar is being built, just like in the ancient world, they have all these secret plots and plans, man. Right? Let's go to First Ezra 5 and 73. I want to get straight to the point. This is First Ezra chapter 5. I'm going to start at 72. Chapter 5 and verse 72. This is after the second temple was built, when Zerubbabel and Joshua and those fathers laid the foundation of the temple. And we celebrated. Here's what happened. First Ezra 5 and 72. But the heathen of the land, lying heavy upon the inhabitants of the Judea and holding them straight, hindered their building. So they tried to stop us from building through laws and slander and violence. And by their secret plots and popular persuasions and commotions, they hindered the finishing of the building all the time that King Cyrus lived. So they were hindered from building for the space of 2 years until the reign of Darius. So these heathen don't love you, man. As we're building, they have secret plots. And a lot of these plots are being revealed, man, by whistleblowers, undercover Edomites, Spirit of the Most High through the prophecies, the judgments. Even other nations are making America naked and revealing what they do. So we're not surprised, man. We're not surprised if the secret plots and the laws are going to be put forth to persecute and come after the servants of Yahweh B'Shem Shah, right? They did it before, man. They did it to our fathers. Let's go to 2 Maccabees chapter 6. They did it to our fathers when they built. 2 Maccabees chapter 6, and I'm going to read verse number 8. It reads, moreover, there went out a decree to the neighbor cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews that they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of their sacrifices. And whoso would not conform themselves to the manner of the Gentiles, they should be put to death. Then might a man have seen the present misery. So again, if you don't conform yourself to this new world order, your head getting chopped off. For there were 2 women brought who had circumcised their children, whom they had openly led round about the city. The babes hanging at their breasts, they cast them down headlong from the wall. So they cast down these children, man. And they threw these children, these young babies, infants, head first off the wall and dashed them against the stones. And the baby head cracked all open. And he was crying as he was falling down, saying, Mama, Amma, help, help. And as he was falling off the cliff, his head cracked open and his body burst asunder. Right? Why am I breaking it down like that? Because that's exactly what the hell happened, man. so you can understand how demonic, how evil these devils are. And again, these things are going to happen all over again. They may take our children with fringes on. You got a lot of children. I mean, that's the sand of the sea. And it's knowledge, man. Fringes on and head wraps and keeping the feast days. And they're going to take your children to make an example, to break you. 2 Maccabees 6:11. And others that have run into caves nearby to keep the Sabbath day secretly, being discovered to Philip, were all burnt together because they made a conscience to help themselves for the honor of the most sacred day. So they that's how serious they took the Sabbath. Man, we got to keep the Shabbat. They want us to work. They was probably trying to, hey, look, y'all got to work. Build this heathen altar. And certain Israelites escaped into a cave and said, we ain't working, man. We're going to keep the Shabbat. They was probably going over the scriptures, man, exhorting one another, singing songs to the Most High, praying, and they got caught. And they brought them all out, and they burned them alive for keeping the Sabbath day. You may get burnt alive. You know, Nero would do that demonic stuff, man. Right? Nero and them wicked heathen, they would burn us alive. Roman candles and will be used as torches to light the streets, right? To light the streets of these different cities. Imagine being burned alive, man. Because you kept the laws of God. The Lord said, he that endureth unto the end, the same shall be saved. And I know a lot of Israelites don't like to talk about this, man. They just want to talk about fun and drama and controversy and, what's the latest this in Israel. We got to talk about these things. We have to prepare our spirits and our minds to always know that this is a reality. And it's not really a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And we have to desensitize ourselves as much as we can without physically seeing it. We have to desensitize ourselves of this persecution and murders that we're going to see. We're going to see things we never saw before. And, you really can't prepare, but again, you can prepare. You can pray for faith that the Most High allows you to endure, right? And when these things happen, you're not taking the bat, that you accept it, that you give your life willingly when it comes down to it, if you have to. These things are important in the last days, 2 Maccabees chapter 6:12. Now I beseech those that read this book, that they be not discouraged for these calamities, but that they judge those punishments not to be for destruction, but for a chastening of our nation. So you can't be reading Maccabees like, God, I'm not reading the rest of this, man. This is too much. I can't take this anymore. This is chastisement. This is for the Most High to try us. That's the final trial. The final trial is this third martyrdom. Are you going to give your life for Yahweh Basham Shah? Are you going to be a martyr? Have your head chopped off, tortured, persecuted? Or are you going to get weak and fold, deliver up your brethren, and to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season? 2 Maccabees 6:13. For it is a token of his great goodness, when wicked doers are not suffered any long time, but forthwith punished. For not as with other nations, whom the Lord patiently forbeareth to punish, till they come to the fullness of their sins. Till they become to the fullness of their sins, so dealeth he with us. Lest that being come to the height of sin, afterwards he should take vengeance of us. So the Lord, he'll afflict us. And while he's afflicting us, these heathen are heaping up sin upon sin. And once they reach the peak of their sin, he delivers us and destroys them. So let's jump down. 2 Maccabees 6:18. Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man and of a well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth and to eat swine's flesh. We read that's going to happen again in 2 Esdras, the 6th chapter. So they took this man, right, bound him up, and tried to make him eat swine's flesh. Verse 19. But he choosing rather to die gloriously than to live stained with such an abomination, spit it forth and came of his own accord to the torment. So they tried to stuff swine's flesh in his mouth, right? Tried to make him eat it. He spit it out. And he probably spit it on their damn face, man. That's what they're going to do. We read it in 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter. Verse 20. And they came after him because if this chief man, a principal scribe, a chief scribe, an aged man, right? If he ate swine's flesh, everybody eats swine's flesh. So they may come after elders, ancient men, learned men, so-called prominent men in Israel first. Publicly televised executions. I believe Trump said, one of these devils said they want to bring back, I actually got one of those links, but it was a president. It may have been Trump. He said he wanted to bring back public executions. They may televise that. I mean, that's not hard to believe. In the name of patriotism, in the name of America first, in the name of eradicating all America's enemies, all terrorists, domestic terrorists who are a threat to the lives of white America and our freedom and liberty will be publicly executed month by month in the name of America, in the name of the national anthem, in the name of the Pledge of Allegiance, American sovereignty, our Constitution, and Bill of Rights will not be infringed upon by black domestic terrorist organizations who want to hurt our children, hurt our daughters, destroy our country. I can see these devils saying some madness like that, man. I mean, it's not hard to believe. I mean, you have one of these devils. He's the CEO. Where is it at? Man, where's this guy at, man? I think he was the CEO of Palantir or Palantir, Slakia Palantir. Check this out. 6 days ago, billionaire wants to bring back public executions. So a lot of these elites, man, they kill for sport. You know, they kill for sport. They get off on it. Some of these guys, man, they literally get off on it. That's like, you know, that riles them up. They can sleep at night. You know, they blood be boiling to watch bloodshed like a damn demon. So he wants to bring back public executions. And it is going to be brought back. They're going to bring back these executions. It's going to be public. People are going to see it. Right? People are going to see it. See if I can, this loads up. And you think he's the only billionaire? Why do people act like this is something uncommon? Every lynching that they did back in the day was a public execution. They had feasts. It was a day for the family to come together. I mean, maybe cousins were beefing, maybe fathers and mothers, you know, they weren't seeing eye to eye. They were about to get divorced. You know, the children were going the hell off. And the only way to reconcile white families from domestic disputes was to see an Israelite get lynched. Then that family will come back together. The marriage will get sparked again at the sight of the Israelite getting put to death. The children would get their grades back together. The cousins would no longer beef, right? And white communities were saved at the joy of the execution of the Israelites, man. So we don't marvel that a billionaire wants to bring back public executions because they've always wanted to see these things, right? It was a day of feasting, picnics, and things of that nature. Now, This billionaire is not just any billionaire. He's the co-founder of Palantir. Now, Palantir is essentially a software, AI software that's it's going to be used to track and trace everybody that opposes the new world order. That's what it is. That's the best way I could break it down. Now you look it up, they might say something different. Where we're using this to study the economy. That's all it is. It's going to be used to track your finances, track who you are as an individual, to link you up with they're going to give you pre-crime reports. They're going to give the government pre-crime reports. Who's likely to be a terrorist? Who should you target? That's what it's all for. So the billionaire co-founder of the data analytics and software giant Palantir has called for the United States to bring back public hangings for repeat violent offenders. Now, the government uses his software. It can say, look, if y'all want my top-notch software, here's what you'll have to do. You have to publicly execute everybody that comes against this new world order. Joe Lonsdale defended open-air executions in a series of posts on X, that's your modern-day Twitter, saying their reintroduction would be an example of the masculine leadership the country is sore lacking. Check that out. You know what does he mean when he says the masculine leadership? What does that really mean? What does that translate to? Because real masculine leadership is prophesying, teaching repentance, teaching men not to be a homosexual, teaching women not to be a dyke, telling fathers to get their houses in order, to understand you're in the end of the world. All of that is masculine leadership. Their idea of masculinity was buck breaking other men. That was masculine for them, to rape adult Israelite men on plantations publicly. That was masculine. They got off on that. Their idea of masculine leadership is molesting little children, invading lands to molest their children and steal their resources. So his concept of masculinity is contrary to our concept of masculinity and God's concept of masculinity. Right? His example of masculine, when he says masculine leadership, all he's talking about is the inner demon of bloodlust for the so-called white man. He knows his population is declining. He knows that. He knows that all his Edomites are on drugs. They're on meth, bath salts, trank. He knows their economy's collapsing. Their job market is going down. I believe there's only 59% of white people in America. But back in the day, it was like 90%. So they need something to bring the Edomites back together, man. And if we could publicly kill people, that can encourage us. Now check out what he said. If I'm in charge later, we won't have a 3 strikes law. You know that 3 strikes law was mainly for you so-called black men, right? We will quickly try and hang men after 3 violent crimes. And yes, we will do it in public to deter others, he wrote. And that's what Nero would do. That's why they would crucify people. The Romans, they crucified. They always had public executions. Crucifixions were public executions, and they had their crimes written on the cross to deter others from crime. And this guy, he was a murderer. This guy, he was the thief. This guy, he did this. So when you walk past, you would say, damn, I can't commit that crime, or I'm going to be like this guy. So this is nothing new. So he said, and yes, we will do it in public to deter others, he wrote. Our society needs balance. It's time to bring back masculine leadership, to protect our most vulnerable. Right? So he wants to get down. He wants to get down. Public executions had disappeared in the United States by the end of the 1930s. After outrage appeared, it's like it prompted legal reforms that moved capital punishment behind prison walls. Lonsdale call to revive the practice stems from a belief that violent crime in the United States has spiraled out of control. While regional figures vary, such crimes have declined markedly from a peak in the early 1990s, and nationwide rates have fallen to near historic lows in recent years, according to data from the FBI. So he's the guy. Look at this devil, right? So if you don't get down with Palantir or Slocky, if you are a victim, you fall under the category of Palantir, where you are a terrorist, because that's what Palantir is. I did a cold cut not too long ago called the digital system. I have to go back and find it. If brothers want to learn more about Palantir, these deep state algorithms and programs to target the men of the Most High, right? It was called it's like, I want to go back. I'm just looking to see if I can find it. This was done almost 4 months ago, maybe. Right? Digital system, famine of the word, mark of the beast. And there was another one I did called man, I have to find it. Right? You may have to scroll and find it. Right? But it was done artificial intelligence in a Trump Saul complex. That was another one. Right? But we've been touching on this stuff like Palantir and other partner programs that the government is going to use for so-called pre-crime. If we type in why is Palantir used? Why is Palantir used? Or what is it used for? Check this out. Palantir is used to integrate, analyze, and manage massive fragmented data assets for complex decision-making, helping governments fight terrorism, see that? Track fraud, and manage public health, while businesses use it for supply chain, energy optimization, and AI integration, allowing organizations to find patterns and build AI tools from their own data without overhauling existing systems, essentially acting as a smart, secure operating system for a large-scale data. So your job may use it. Some jobs are already using AI to filter out people whose name is Jamal, Tyrone, Shanice, right? Keisha. If your name pops up in that algorithm, you're not getting that job. They already trained their algorithm to block out certain names, even ethnicities. Are you Black, non-Latino, Asian, Pacific Islander? If you're Black, if you're anything but white, you're getting blocked out with their AI. You got Workday. You got damn, what's that other one, man? These jobs be using Smart Apply and all these different things. If you put Black or you got a code name, you out of there. You wonder why that job didn't get back for you. Why you applied at 3:00 p.m. for the job, and at 3:30 they told you no. You got an instant no. They just emailed you and say, hell no. Because they're using AI for these jobs. Then they're going to pull up all of the men who are also, your job is going to have information to other parts of your life. What group you belong to, what camp you're in, what your Hebrew name is. It's going to be linked up to your financial institution. Okay, are you at Capital One? Are you at Chase Bank? Are you at PNC Bank? Are you at this credit union? It's going to link up all these different parts of your life to the government so they can identify you and destroy you, right? So that's why we went into Revelation 20, that men are going to get beheaded. Let me read this again, Revelation 20:4. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them, and I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua and for the word of the Most High, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither have received this mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with the Mashiach 1,000 years. Men are going to get beheaded. They're bringing back public executions, right? Where is this at? Hold on, I'm gonna get that too. Right, Slakia. So again, this devil, he wants to bring this stuff back, man. He wants to bring it back. Check this out. Sinking, here's what he said. Sinking narco boats publicly helps deter others. They're talking about what they're doing off the coast of Venezuela, destroying fishermen that are out there trying to take care of their families so they can go in there and get oil. As others hanging repeat violent criminals. So like as does hanging repeat violent criminals, that also deters others. They may say, Lonsdale, yeah, we like your idea and we'll do it, but hanging takes too long. And hanging is archaic. It's an outdated process. If you want to kill people faster at a faster rate, you'll need an automated guillotine that's ran by AI software that publicly researches your name, publicly shows you who you are, identifies your concordance and where you are. This AI central database, massive guillotines, locate where you are, tells you to go get you and brings you to that guillotine. That's a clean process. That's faster, more efficient. More Israelites can get killed at a faster rate. Nobody's going to be sitting up there tying nooses, get jammed up, the guy kind of mess up, right? No. All right. Killing bad guys is a Department of War's job. See that? Killing bad guys is the Department of War's job. They're going to make war against the saints, and we're going to be killed as the quote unquote bad guys. He should brag more. Masculine truth, bold, virtuous men deter evil. I mean, this devil. He said the government, they're going to be bold and virtuous as they lynch the children of the Lord. Now, another thing, this is from early September. What's behind the execution surge of 2025? So they're executing more people more than ever. Think about what we went over today. They're identifying more terrorist groups within the last 10 years or this last year than they've ever done in 10 years. They're executing more people than they've ever done before. They're calling for more public executions, all while this truth is increasing more and more. So we're able to put two and two together to understand what's happening and what's going on, you know? So it says, this is from the Marshall Project. States have executed 30 people this year, already the highest annual total in more than a decade. So that's the spirit of blood on the earth, man. Capital punishment and executions are increasing. And it's becoming the new norm. It's becoming just the standard. The standard way to deter crime is just straight up execution. All these community service, 5 years, PBJ, life sentences, you're going to do 30 years and 5 consecutive life sentences. No. The cost to kill you is going to be cheaper than a cost to keep you alive with food and shelter and, all this stuff. That costs money, man. And as this economy goes down, this is cost effective just to get rid of you, right? Just to kind of get you up out of here. So I'm not going to read this whole article for sake of time, but I wanted to touch on the point that it's an increase in executions in 2025. Is that ironic? No. It's setting up the stage of Revelation 20 and 4. So let's go back to Second Maccabees. This was a public execution concerning Eleazar. Second Maccabees 6 and 19. But he choosing rather to die gloriously than to live stained with such an abomination, spit it forth and came of his own accord to the torment, as it behooved them to come, that are resolute to stand out against such things as are not lawful for the love of life to be tasted. But they that had the charge of that wicked feast, for the old acquaintance they had with the man, taking him aside, besought him to bring flesh of his own provision, such as was lawful for him to use, and to make as if he did eat of the flesh, taken from the sacrifice commanded by the king. So what does that mean? They tried to get him to eat pork. He wouldn't eat it. So they said, you know what, man? Let me pull you to the side. Let me talk to you. Untie him for a minute. They untied him or whatever, or they just came to him, right? And they said, look, man, we'll give you lamb, venison. Just pretend it's pork. When we bring you out there in front of everybody, eat this lamb, but we're going to make it like it's pork. Act like you don't like it, but then give in and eat it. So everybody else can get weak and everybody else can fold and we don't get any resistance and everybody else's courage and spirit can be broken. Just pretend you're eating the pork. Second Maccabees 6 and 22. That in so doing, he might be delivered from death and for the old friendship with them find favor. But he began to consider discreetly, and as became his age, and the excellency of his ancient years, and the honor of his gray head, whereunto he was come, and his most honest education from a child, or rather the holy law made and given by the Most High. Therefore he answered accordingly, and willed them straight ways to send him to the grave. And he thought about it. He said, you know what, man? What would happen if I did this, man? This is bigger than me. If I eat and I live to eat pork to survive another day, that's fine. But it's going to affect everybody else. But if I die, I set the example for young men and other men to also die for the laws of God. So he was put into a position where he had major influence over life and death. And how he moved, it was going to set the precedent for how the rest of the Jews were going to move. And he said, send me to the grave, man. Again, that's some bold stuff. That's some cold statements right there, man. He willed them straight ways to send me to the grave. Got a lot of brothers thinking about it. Oh, well, I mean, it's not a sin because they're giving me lamb. So I'm not really eating pork, right? The Lord said, in the swine, though it divide the hoof and be cloven-footed, yet it cheweth not the cud, it is unclean unto you, right? Okay, so I'm not really eating pork. I'm only pretending I'm eating pork. It's not a sin. The Lord says, okay, if I don't add to the law, take away, it's really not that bad. You know what? Give me that lamb. I'll pretend it's pork. It's not a sin. Give me that. No. Ain't no pretending you're eating pork, man. Ain't no pretending you ate a crab, a lobster. Ain't no pretend sin, man. Ain't no time to be playing no damn games, man. It's not about you. It's about the Most High. It's about your nation. So here's what he said. Second Maccabees 6 and 24. For it becometh not our age, said he, in any wise to dissemble, whereby many young persons might think that Eleazar, being 80 years old and 10, were now going to a strange religion. He said, look, man, if I do this, the young men are going to go off. And me living to see another day is going to cause more death. If I live, many are going to die. Verse 25. And so they, through mine hypocrisy and desire to live a little time and a moment longer, should be deceived by me, and I get a stain to mine old age and make it abominable. He was 90 years old, man. That would have been deceptive. The Lord said you can't deal falsely. So that would have been a sin outright. Dealing falsely, deception, hypocrisy. For though for the present time I should be delivered from the punishment of men, yet should I not escape the hand of the Almighty, neither alive nor dead. Wherefore, now manfully changing this life. See, that's true masculinity. Is dying for the laws of God, not killing people for keeping the laws of God. We're two contrary people, us and these devils. I will show myself such as one as mine age requireth, and leave a notable example to such as be young, to die willingly and courageously for the honorable and holy laws. And when he had said these words, immediately he went to the torment. See that? So they tortured him, man. They that led him, changing the goodwill, they bear him a little while or a little before into hatred, because the aforesaid speeches proceeded as they thought from a desperate mind. But when he was ready to die with stripes, so they was beating him to death, and his blood was gushing out. His skin was ripped open. His potential muscles and organs and bones were exposed to the cold, brisk air of wickedness. Body numb. Blood circulation just pumping out blood. Like the movies just pump out blood. But when he was ready to die with stripes, he groaned and said, it is manifest unto the Lord that hath the holy knowledge, that whereas I might have been delivered from death, I now endure sore pains in my body by being beaten, but in soul am well content to suffer these things because I fear him. He was thinking about the Lord, right? I fear the Most High. So I'm going to endure these sore pains in my body. I know I'm going to be resurrected. I know I'm going to have a crown on my head. And thus this man died, leaving his death for an example of a noble courage and a memorial of virtue, not only unto young men, but unto all his nation. So his life and death is a memorial. See, what he did while he was alive was prominent, and a lot of men needed that. But what he did in his death was more impactful. For all of us, man. This is martyrdom. Let's go to 2 Maccabees 7, right? I know I'm running out of time, right? Let's go to 2 Maccabees chapter 7, right? We got to read 2 Maccabees 7 and 1. These are public executions. And again, they're going to bring that back, man, right? They want to bring that back. This guy, Palantir, the guy that owns Palantir, which the government uses to identify terrorists, he wants to publicly execute people, right, and kill their enemies. So this thing is getting bold, man. This thing is increasing. This thing is increasing. Right? Let's publicly execute anybody that comes against the New World Order, right? That comes against the New World Order. So let's go back to this. 2 Maccabees chapter 7 and verse 1. And that guy that owns Palantir, he's only saying what everybody's thinking, right? He's not saying nothing uncommon. He's only saying what everybody else is thinking, you know? 2 Maccabees 7 and 1. And it came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the law to taste swine's flesh. and were tormented with scourges and whips. So they whipped them and beat these 7 brothers and their mother because they wouldn't eat swine's flesh. But one of them that spake first said thus, what wouldst thou ask or learn of us? We are ready to die rather than to transgress the laws of our fathers. And that has to be your attitude. Not just in Jacob's trouble. It should be your attitude every day, every hour, every minute, every second of your life, where you're fully resolved, ready to die, rather than to transgress the laws of your fathers. A lot of Israel is going to sin, eat pork, bow down to the system, to save their lives, to eat, to survive, get food, freak off, save their women and children. You have to be ready to die. You come into this knowledge, you have to count the cost. You understand that you're an Israelite. Understand that this is a reality and a strong possibility. You don't come in this truth to be the number one artist, to be I want to come in and want to be the face of Israel, the head Israelite in charge. None of that matters. I want to have 10 sons and 10 daughters. I want to have 4 wives. The question is, are you going to be ready to die when it counts, when it comes? Your music can't save you. Your likes can't save you. Your views can't save you. Your fame can't save you. How many garments you have can't save you. How many children you have can't save you. Only Yahweh Bashmel Shah can save you. If you're ready to die and willfully die, then well. But if not, your life is in vain. You're going to be destroyed and resurrected unto condemnation. Straight up and down. So the 7 brothers said, man, what the hell are you asking of us, man? What you want? How you want it? We ready to die. Right? Let's read on. Verse number 3. Now, they ain't said just like that, but I'm translating in modern day Jake, right? Verse number 3. Then the king, being in a rage, commanded pans and cauldrons to be made hot. So they had to get these big pans and they heating them up, man. I know the brothers were looking like, what the hell you damn devils about to do with these pans and cauldrons? Brothers haven't seen cauldrons. This is a cauldron. Right? This is a cauldron. And they had cauldrons so big, you could put a person in there. So they were heating up cauldrons larger than this. It was the size of which you could fit a human body. Right? So they were heating up cauldrons, cast iron cauldrons like this, to be made hot. Let's find out why. 2 Maccabees 7:4. Which, forthwith being heated, he commanded to cut out the tongue of him that spake first, and to cut off the utmost parts of his body, the rest of his brethren and his mother looking on. So they cut out his tongue, man. Grabbed him by his hair, his fro, his woolly hair. If he had braid, whatever, they grabbed him. Fighting, get off me. You got other men holding him down. They had to stick a knife in because you can't grab somebody's tongue and hold on and be still. No, you got to stick a knife in his mouth. Slakia, move that over here. You got to stick a knife in his damn mouth and cut his tongue out. The blood gushing out. Pain. I mean, this is stuff that only they know. Only they know. And they cut off the utmost parts of his body. Those are his fingers, his toes, his ears, and his mother is watching. I mean, you really can't imagine. Hey, man, they got the IUIC watching reads. Whoever put that together, them brothers or sisters, ancestors that put that together is mighty. It shows they did a visual because my children was watching that, right? They put a visual together of the 7 brothers being tortured and the mother watching, man. You know, and they did an excellent job with that. So brothers should check that out, man. Right? How your children watch that. You watch that, man. You know? So let's read on. 2 Maccabees 7:5. Now, when he was thus maimed and all his members, he commanded him, being yet alive, to be brought to the fire and to be fried in the pan. And as the vapor of the pan was for a good space dispersed, they exhorted one another with the mother to die manfully, saying thus. So they cut off his fingers, his hands, and they took him to the pan and they fried him in that pan, right? Like that large cauldron, right? They fried him alive. See if I can get a life-sized pan, right? So like, let me get this real quick. So they had these huge frying pans, man. Right? And they put them inside of a pan. And he was being cooked alive. And to even invent something like this, man, it's hard to even find an actual image. But these devils had pans. You can fit a body in it, man. I don't even know how to find this, how to Google this, man. I don't even want to. Let's see, large pan, large frying pan. I mean, I don't know how to find this stuff online, but these devils, they made it, man. You know, to fit a whole body in a pan. Imagine that, being fried alive in a pan while your body is dismembered. And all of the other brothers, they're exhorting and encouraging one another. Call all Yahweh, all praise to the Most High. We all going to die. How you going to die? You ready for this? I'm going to get my head chopped off. I'm going to get my leg chopped off. Hey, look, man, I'm going to say this. Hey, I'm going to say that. They on fire while their brother is frying alive in a pan. They was exhorting one another. And the mother was there. Y'all better die for the Lord. I could see her looking at her sons. That's what we've been waiting for. I mean, this spirit of, there's not a chapter in the Bible like 2 Maccabees, the 7th chapter. I'm going to just say that. There's no other chapter like this. There's no account. This account is the most extreme account outside of our Lord Yahushua of torture and hatred, resilience, bravery, courageousness, and martyrdom in the Bible. Find me another chapter, man. And I might say that you're off. So let's read on. 2 Maccabees 7:6. Here's what they said. Yahweh Ba'ashmiah looketh upon us, and in truth have comfort in us, as Moses in his song, which witnessed to their faces declared, saying, and he shall be comforted in his servant. So they was thinking about the song of Moses. They weren't looking for a way out. They was looking for a way in. That's the mind. I'm looking for a way in, no way out. What's the way in? Into the kingdom of heaven. 2 Maccabees 7:7. So when the first was dead, and you got to think about that smell, because nobody has ever smelled a human body chopped and fried in a pan. Nobody smelled that before. I mean, you probably came across a dead body, smelled the dead body, probably, whatever. But nobody alive on the earth can ever say that they saw a fresh cooked body fried alive in a pan till it was dead, burnt. You got to think about their mother smelling that, the brother smelling that, the smoke, the aroma in the air, Esau smelling that, getting off on it, putting his hand in his pocket because he getting off on it, freaking off, leaving the room for a second. throwing water in his face because that's a pleasurable thing to him. Other men laughing, mocking, taking his body, eating it. Now, it doesn't say he ate his body, but I mean, what the hell, man? I'm not surprised. Then they skin Nat Turner and eat his body. Or they chopping off our knuckles and putting them in butcher shops, using our skin for couches, hair for the stuff in the pillows. Hey, man, it's a lot of pillows and old big houses in Mississippi and ain't made with feathers. It's made, you chop open that pillow, it's full of black woolly hair. And those couches are never for sale. Those rocking chairs with those cushions, they're never for sale. They're never on Facebook Marketplace. You're never on Craigslist or them online stores. They stay in those families, passed down from generation to generation. Certain purses, materials that are made with Negro skin, they'll remain within the walls of that family. Certain jars of Jake organs and things, they got tape on it, year 1825. Right? Jim Davis, the Negro. And they keep it in the jar in a damn refrigerator. And that's the old grandfather dies. In his will, he says, take out the jar, Jim Davis and Negro, and pass it to your son. See, Jake, you got a pot of spaghetti in your refrigerator, man. Some smoke clean turkey sausage, you know, ketchup and mustard, man. These devils have you in the refrigerator. So let's read on. 2 Maccabees 7:7. So when the first was dead after this manner, they brought the second to make him a mocking stock. And when they had pulled off the skin of his head with the hair, they asked him, wilt thou eat before thou be punished throughout every member of thy body? So they pulled his hair off. It's like a scalping. They probably took a straight razor and just peeled. You know how painful that is, man? Well, it says they pulled it off. Salaki. They didn't cut. They pulled it off. You know how painful that is, man? To pull off all of your hair. And it says the skin. Right? Let me see this. Right? Let's see, scalping. The effects of scalping. It's just hard to. You can't even see some of the stuff these devils did. You can't even really find it. Because that's what they call it. They call it scalping. Now, check this out. Scalping a person causes excruciating pain, massive blood loss, and a high risk of death from shock. Your body going to shock. You might go into a seizure. You got to think about your body seizing up, infection, or other medical complications. Survivors face permanent scarring and the inability to grow hair on the affected area. And check this out, and severe psychological trauma. The scalp has numerous nerve endings, so its removal is extremely painful. So they were scalping people, man. So that's what they did to this brother. And after they scalped him as he's bleeding alive, they say, how you want it, man? You ready for this? You ready to be tormented? Or you going to eat this pork? Don't you know what we could do for you, man? Or do to you? You want to eat this pork? Or you want more? You know how high your faith has to be while you're going through that pain? You know how easy it would be for you to say, just give me the pork in the flesh to stop the pain? They say, wilt thou eat before thou be punished throughout every member of thy body? Verse 8, but he answered in his own language and said, La'ah. He said, no. Wherefore he also received the next torment in order as the former did. So they fried him and killed him. And when he was at the last gasp, he said, so these brothers, man, they was mighty. He had enough courage to say what? Thou like a fury takest us out this present life. But the king of the world shall raise us up, who have died for his laws unto everlasting life. So while his last gasp, I got a lot of people saying, I quit. Please save me. Get me out this pan. Get me out. Help. Help. No, God, no. What did I do? Why do I deserve this? In his mind, he wasn't thinking about none of the stuff that man would think about. He talking his talk. He talking that talk. Right? He said, I'm going to be resurrected, man, because I died for the laws of God unto everlasting life. The Most High, he going to raise me up, man. See, the Most High, we live. We have life after death. We have hope that even if we die for the Most High, we're going to be the first ones in those chariots. The Lord said the dead of Hamashiach shall rise first. So let's read on. 2 Maccabees 7:10. After him was the third made a mocking stock. And when he was required, he put out his tongue, and that right soon, holding forth his hands manfully, and said courageously, these I had from heaven, and for his laws I despised them. And from him I hope to receive them again. So he's holding out his hands, and Lord said, y'all can chop my damn hands off. I'm going to get them again anyway. I hate these hands, man. I hate these arms. Chop them off, man. I'm doing this for the Most High. And they're talking without a tongue. You know how painful that has to be talking without a tongue? Blood gushing out, swallowing your own blood, choking on your own blood, blood everywhere, the smell, you in shock. And so much that the king and they that were with him marveled at the young man's courage, for he had nothing regarded the pains. He said, the hell with these pains, man. Now, when this man was dead also, they tormented and mangled the fourth in like manner. What does it mean to mangle somebody? Put up the definition of mangle. To severely mutilate, disfigure, or damage by cutting, tearing, or crushing. They probably crushed his hand, chopped his nose off, stabbed him in the stomach, chopped his ear off, cut his little finger off, had it hanging by a thread, chopped his toe off, hung him back, stabbed him in the back a few times, and then chopped his damn head off. Mangled him. But yet, people say the so-called, yet Antiochus can repent. He can repent according to doctrines of madness. He can repent from all this. Just believe in Jesus Christ, keep the commandments, and he'll be saved. You don't have to answer for none of this. He could even be in a chariot, according to modern day dogma. He just has to accept Jesus Christ. And none of this never happened. Let's read on. That's madness. 2 Maccabees. And let's read on. 2 Maccabees 7:14. So when he was ready to die, he said thus, it is good being put to death by men. Hold on. Who says that? He said it's good being put to death by men. You might say it's good to get a new job. It's good that I got a raise. I found $20 in my pocket. I got another wife. I obtained a new car. I got a deal at the store. He said it's good being put to death by men. Their standards were incomprehensible. He said it is good being put to death by men, to look for hope from God, to be raised up again by him. As for thee, thou shalt have no resurrection to life. So he was talking his talk. Afterward, they brought the fifth also and mangled him. Then looked he into the king and said, Thou hast power over men. Thou art corruptible. Thou doest what thou wilt, yet think not that our nation is forsaken of God. But abide a while, and behold his great power, how he will torment thee and thy seed. So they're done. His seed, Helm, they can't make it. They're finished. The Lord said he layeth up his iniquity in his children. Verse 18. After him also they brought the sixth, who, being ready to die, said, Be not deceived without cause, for we suffer these things of ourselves, having sinned against our God. Therefore, marvelous things are done to us. But think not thou that takest in hand to strive against God, that thou shalt escape unpunished. So he said what he had to say too, man. They was bold, man. To be tortured and still call this damn the devil to his face, man, and die for the laws of the Most High is amazing. And that's where we want to be, right? When it's time for us, if that's what the Lord allows within his will, then we want to be like this and more. We want to be like this, man. You women, you brothers, you children, you ancient men, you old men, if our time comes, then we want to go out like this. Anything less than this is unacceptable in the eyes of the Most High. Anything that's even off, you conformed, you sold out, it's unacceptable. We want to be like this and some. This is the pinnacle of perfection. See, Yahweh Shah was made perfect through suffering. Let me get that in Hebrews real quick. Hebrews 2, right? As we wind down. Hebrews chapter 2 and verse number 10, right? It reads, For it became him, for whom are all things, and by whom are all things, and bringing many sons unto glory, to make the captain of their salvation perfect through sufferings. So Yahweh Shah was made perfect through what? Through sufferings, through affliction. He was perfected by death and by sufferings and torture, right? That's what made him perfect, finishing the job. 2 Maccabees 7 and 20. But the mother was marvelous above all, and worthy of honorable memory. For when she saw her 7 sons slain within the space of one day, she bare it with good courage, because of the hope that she had in the Lord, right? And you sisters, man, that got children and sons in Israel and daughters, they might get tortured in front of your face just like this. And you're going to have to take it with good courage and exhort and remind yourself of the precepts and the promises, you know, and be strong, right? You sisters can't be in this truth just for damn drama, gossip, you know, folly, laziness, sitting around doing God knows what. You don't read, you don't study, you don't pray, you don't fast, you're not in the spirit, you're going to hell off, your children are out of order, you have no idea what's going on. It's a competition. Who got this on? She wore this hair wrap. I got to wear this hair wrap. She got this on, so I'm going to make sure I got this on. You don't know what the hell is going on. Get your spirit right, man. And prepare, especially if you know you got a family, your husband might get put to death in front of you. He's supposed to be praising the Most High while it happens. Your children might get tortured in front of you. You're supposed to be exhorting them and praising the Most High. You might hear their cries from another room. Screams that you thought you'd never hear. You might break, might get fold. You might fold. You got to encourage yourself in the name of the Most High. That's why it's important to build up your faith now. Build up your faith now. Read these accounts. Pray for faith. Pray that the Most High increases it and your confidence in Him and your household to continue even until death. And she had hope in the Lord concerning the resurrection. A lot of women, mothers, don't even know what the resurrection is. How it's going to happen. What does it really mean? Is there a resurrection now? Nobody even knows what's going on. You got women there on their fifth husband, you know, third husband, fifth camp, bugged out doctrines, getting pimped out by false teachers. They have no idea what's going on. Double-minded, lukewarm, argumentative, cause contentious, bringing doctrines, heresies. You want to be like this mother right here, man. Let's read this again. 2 Maccabees 7:20. But the mother, well, what was her name? I don't know what her name. Doesn't matter what her name is. What matters is what she did and her spirit. But the mother was marvelous above all and worthy of honorable memory. For when she saw her 7 sons slain within the space of one day. Man, you see one mother, her son Tyrell died, Tyreek, Jamal, she break down crying. Oh, my son, and she weeping, and you know, people got to pick her up, and it's okay, and you'll be all right. And she saw 7 of her sons. And I'm gonna say this too, man. A lot of these mothers that watch their sons get slain, I'm gonna tell you this: those sons are wicked, man. They be drug dealers, not all the time. A lot of times they're off though, man. They be drug dealers, gang banging, got shot out because they was in a shootout. They owed somebody some money. It was freaking off, and they crying, but their son wasn't even in the knowledge of God. Their son was off. She was going through this. Her sons were righteous and truly innocent. Not like these mothers at court. Oh, my son, he's such a good. Oh, your honor, my son, he's such a good baby. Oh, your son just killed 2 of his homeboys, man. He smokes weed and blacks every day. You're before the judge defending your nigga son. Oh, he's not like that. And oh, my son. And no. Those sons received judgment. These sons died in their innocence. So this happened in one day. A lot of women, you can't stand, you have a so-called bad day. Maybe you and your husband got into it. Maybe this happened. You out of money. The stuff ain't looking right. This going on. And you breaking down. You all out the spirit. You're easily out the spirit. So if you can't endure minor things now, how are you going to expect to endure your family getting put to death in front of you in those days? Tighten up, man. Lock in. Lock in. How are we going to pay for this? And how are we going to pay for this? And well, what about this? And I don't know about this. You're breaking down now. You won't be able to endure in those days. So this is a message for you sisters, man. Be like the mother. Tighten up, man. And build up your faith. And stop just being easily overthrown. You're not going to be able to bear this. It says she bare it with a good courage because of the hope that she had in the Lord. Right? Let's read on. 2 Maccabees 7:21. Yea, she exhorted every one of them in her own language, filled with courageous spirits, and stirring up her womanish thoughts with a manly stomach, she said unto them, she was exhorting her brothers, her sons, every one of them as they were dying. You take that, all praise to the Most High. You're going to be resurrected. You got this, man. A lot of mothers, you only exhort your son at the football game. He dropped 30 at the local high school basketball game. He on his prom day. Oh, my baby is prom. Let's take pictures. His is homecoming. You exhorting him to get to manage a 2.5 grade point average. You're exhorting him to get all C's, not to get kicked out, not to get locked up. She was exhorting her sons to die for the laws of God. She was stirring up her womanish thoughts with a manly stomach. Here's what she said. 2 Maccabees 7:22. I cannot tell you how you came into my womb, for I neither gave you breath nor life, neither was it I that formed the members of every one of you. But doubtless the creator of the world, who formed the generation of man and found out the beginning of all things, will also of his own mercy give you breath and life again, as you now regard not your own self for his life's sake. And when your mother, if from the perspective of a son, when your mother encourages you, that means a lot, man. I even talked about like worldly sports and stuff. If your mother show up to a game and she there and she cheer you on, and you gonna ball out. Your girl, your home girl might be there, your brother might be there. They saying what they saying. Hey, but if your mother there and a mother's exhortation to a son, it's very, very impactful. It means a lot. And it kind of hits more than, anybody else. Hey, Jake love their mama, man. They got the song, I'm not going to sing it. I'll always love my mother, man, or my mama. She's, whatever. You know the song. Now you could look it up. So they make songs about this stuff, man. So when your mother is exhorting you, you got to think about the spirit of those sons. That probably lit a fire under them. So you mothers, you need to exhort your children, man, especially those sons. You need to teach your sons, like Proverbs 31, it says, the prophecy which her mother taught him. And stop just getting on your damn son all the time, huh? Say, put that down. Being a lioness in the house. Exhort your son. Teach your sons. Hey, your husband might be at work. He might be, doing things. Hey, you are the safeguard at home and the ruler of the house when your husband ain't there. And I'm going to tell you one more thing about this chapter. You think that they were willing to die for the laws of God because of this one day of exhortation? Or do you think that the mother always exhorted them? Do you think she always taught them? Because last time I checked in Proverbs 22:6, it says what? Let's get the classic. Proverbs 22:6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. So this was taught to them in their youth. This was instilled in them from a young age. This can't happen in one day. Nobody's going to die for something in one day that they just heard about. Faith cometh by hearing, man. And hearing by the word of the Most High. So exhort your sons. Make sure your sons are on fire. And don't wait till it's too damn late, man. You try and do it in the days of trouble, in the days of evil. Your son is like, well, what the hell is going on? What are you talking about? He's confused because he's just used to you scolding him, yelling at him. You just give him food and you feed him and you put clothes on. He go about doing his own thing. You don't talk to your sons, man. See what's going on in their spirit. Teach them. Read to them. Stop expecting the father to do all that, man. He does his part, you do your part. Stop expecting his brothers to do that. Well, he got brothers. Okay, well, you're his mother. Or he got his aunties. When his aunties, he got his grandmother. He got his nephews. So again, it's a message for you mothers, man. Prepare your children, and they should know that they may have to die for the Lord. They have to know that. What it means to die for the Lord. You have to instill that in them at an early age. And that's why we marvel at this, but it was easy for them because they was constantly on them. Her mother was constantly on them. Right? Let's get this in another quick precept. I know I'm running. Let's see where I'm at with time. Okay, that's okay. Deuteronomy 11, right, and 18. It reads, I'm gonna start at 19. And ye shall teach them your children, speaking of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, when thou liest down, and when thou rises up. So fathers and mothers, both, they're supposed to speak to their children about the laws of the Most High. You might read to them, quiz them, right? Keep them sharp. What's this? What's this going into? Okay, this feast day is coming up. Who's this? You want to keep that spirit of the Most High in your house. When you wake up, before you go to bed, stop being on your phone all damn day, man. And read to your children. Pray with your children. Teach them the name of the Most High. Teach them the name of his son. Show them what's going on in Maccabees. Stop giving them the tablet and damn, they doing God knows what, man. You gave them the tablet and the iPad and you let them do whatever the hell they want to do. You wondering why they're out of order. They got all these spirits on them, all these demons on them. They got new slang. They act different because you're not raising them the tablet, and whoever Esau's raising them. I'm gonna just put it like that. The so-called white man's raising them. So now you're raising Edomites. Take that damn tablet away from them. Do a no TV week. 3 days, no TV, no internet. Or even if they watch TV, put on something spiritual. They got biblical movies like The Prince of Egypt. They got the super books. They got the, like I said, my children, they even watch the IUIC Watch and Read. They get down on that, man. When they make that stuff, they get down. They got the animated, they love the, they call it, we watching Yahweh Shai. That's what my children say. We want to watch Yahweh Shai. It's the, GMS got a channel, GMS Manatazak. He do the animated stuff about the kingdom. What it's going to be like in the kingdom, and you know, the promises, and they like watching that, man. You know, they got other stuff too out there, but that's what my children like. They call it, let's watch Yahweh Shai. They want to see about the chariots and stuff like that. And my son opened up the window yesterday. He said, I'm looking for a big chariot. So I don't see a chariot out there. He said, well, I want to see one. So you got to raise up your children in the spirit of the Most High. That's the law. It's not optional. It's mandatory. Right? The laws ain't just, okay, don't eat pork, grow your beard out. No, you got to keep that too, man. Right? You got to keep that too. Let's go back to this in 2 Maccabees. 2 Maccabees 7:23. I know I went on a rant, but that's okay. Right? It's inspired by the spirit of Yahweh Shai. 2 Maccabees 7:23. But doubtless the creator of the world, who formed the generation of man and found out the beginning of all things, will also of his own mercy give you breath and life again, as you now regard not your own selves for his law's sake. So that's what the mother said. Now, Antiochus, thinking himself despised, because he didn't know what she was saying. You know how another language, you know how you go to the Moabites, they speaking Chinese to you, you know they talking that talk. You can't prove it, but you know they talk about you. Them Arabs, because we don't know what they saying, but we know they talking about us. He knew she was talking that talk about him. You know? Now Antiochus, thinking himself despised and suspecting it to be a reproachful speech, which it was, man. Because she probably saw him, he probably saw her, she probably pointing at that damn devil, you know, shaking her hand, right? Clapping her hands, you know, clapping her hands. He probably, he ain't see no crying, ain't see no having her head down. He saw all these mannerisms, man. Hey, Eve can get lively. She's very lively. You know, pointing. She probably looking at him, cutting her eyes at him, man. She probably talking to her sons, looking at him. And he's sitting up there expecting her to get her sons to sell out. But she talking Hebrew, man. So he's sitting back in the chair, trying to put two and two together. He's like, man, I don't know what the hell she's saying, but I know it ain't what I want her to say. So he wanted to do something about it. So he suspected it to be a reproachful speech. Reading on. While the youngest was yet alive, did not only exhort him by words, but also assured him with oaths that he would make him both a rich and a happy man if he would turn from the laws of his fathers, and that also he would take him for his friend and trust him with affairs. So he said, look, man, he probably cut his mother off in the midst of her talking and said, look, if you eat pork, you'll be rich. Just break the commandments. I don't want you to go through this. I don't want you to go through any pains. This hurts me more than it hurts you. You think I want to do this? This is Esau talking. You think I get off on this? If it was up to me, y'all would be alive. I got big plans for you, man. This is called grooming. She's starting to groom him. I got plans for you, man. I got a crown. What size, hat, mitra you wear? Diadem? Okay, I got a crown that kind of fit that size. Probably brought out chains and garments, and I don't know what to do with all of this. You're a wise man. I can trust you with my affairs. Let's go to Hebrews real quick, chapter 11. So these devils are going to bribe you. They're going to try to bribe you and corrupt you with gifts. The Lord said, thou shalt take no gift, for the gift perverteth the eyes of the wise, greatly paraphrasing Exodus 23:8 and Ecclesiasticus chapter 20 and 29. Right? This Hebrews chapter 11 and verse number, this whole thing is good. 23. By faith, Moses, when he was born, was hid 3 months of his parents because they saw he was a proper child and were not afraid of the king's commandment. By faith, Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. And we're going to have to make a decision to refuse to be called after the name of Americans, after the name of the beast, after their image, after their system, after their number, after their mark. We're going to have to refuse all of that. Choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of the Most High than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. So you have to choose to suffer affliction with the people of God or get some temporary sin. Last time I read in Job, the 20th chapter, the Most High said, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed on the earth, that the joy of the hypocrite is but for a moment? But you don't know. Though his excellency mount up into the clouds, yet shall he perish like his own dung, paraphrasing. Don't the scripture say that? That the joy of the hypocrite is only for a moment? So Moses said, the hell with being called Pharaoh. And it was a lot, it's like there was a lot that came with being called Pharaoh's daughter. I mean, Pharaoh's, it's like you would say Pharaoh's, the son of Pharaoh's daughter, Salakia. There was a lot that came with being called the grandson of Pharaoh. There was a lot of privileges that came with that. Protection, comfort, riches, women, entitlement, power. He said, the hell with all of that. I want to suffer affliction with my own people. Hebrews 11 and 26. Esteeming the reproach of Hamashiach greater riches than the treasures in Egypt, for he had respect unto the recompense of the reward. He said, man, being afflicted for the truth, there's greater value in that than having riches that corrupt. Because the value in being reproached for Christ, that's an investment that leads into immortality. Whereas monetary riches is an investment that leads unto corruption. So you got to have that spirit to esteem, to reproach of Hamashiach Yahushua being afflicted for this truth, to have greater value than modern day money that's tied to debt and that's worth absolutely nothing any damn way. Right? So he tried to bribe him. The Lord said, do not think to corrupt with gifts. Let's read on. Second Maccabees 7:25. But when a young man, with in no case hearken unto him, the king called. I got the son just looking at him, right? So the king called his mother and exhorted her that she would counsel the young man to save his life. He said, "Look, man, get over here. Tell him, to sell out." And that's what they do. They try to get the mothers to sell out. They always go through the mothers to make the sons homosexuals. Well, it's okay. He can wear a dress. That comes from the so-called white man's understanding. It's okay for him to dress up like a woman, for him not to get into masculine, sports and, to learn the laws of God. It's okay for him to put makeup on. The so-called white man always exhorts the so-called black woman to get the young so-called black man, even in the days of the plantation, to be submissive. In the days of the plantation, in the days of today, to be submissive, passive, to not be a revolutionary, to be fearful of the so-called white man, and to sell the hell out, man. So what you see going on, I mean, this is a tactic that the serpent has done from the days of Genesis, to try to get into the mind of the Israelite woman to break her whole family down. And if you're a so-called black woman, Hispanic or Native American woman, and you accept the so-called white man's ideas and philosophies and use it to run your family, you're a wicked, you're a sellout, and you're going to be destroyed. The hell with the so-called white man. And stop being a medium between his philosophies and your family. You raise your family according to the standards that your husband set, which should be the standards of Yahweh Shai and the standards of the Most High God. Well, Esau said this. I was reading this book of the so-called white man. He said we should raise our children like this. This ain't the damn Rugrats, man. What he had, Dr. Lipschitz, man. If you know what I'm talking about, grew up in the early, 90s, but we know what I'm talking about. We know what's going on. They would always resort to the book. Damn, Stu and what's that woman name, man? Dee Dee. I think her name was Dee Dee. They would always go to that book. Dr. Lipschitz said, we got to do this. And they teach their sons and a family according to the so-called white man. They was Edomites, but still. So stop allowing Esau to infiltrate your mind. And a lot of Eve, you do that, and you don't even know you do that. You do it subconsciously. Oh, I got to go to the doctor. My son, did you pray to the Most High? Did you talk to your husband about it? Oh, no, I got to go to the doctor, and I got to get this from the so-called white man. I need this prescription. I need that. Okay, we got to check in with Esau. Did Esau say it's okay? You always checking in. Your mind is always to go to the beast, man, instead of going to your husband and going to the Most High. Stop letting him subconsciously subvert you. Go to your husband first, man. Check in with him so he can consult and go to Yahweh Bashmi Shai and pray on it. Stop doing stuff first, then praying later. So let's see if she allowed the so-called white man to infiltrate her mind. Second Maccabees 7:26. And when she had exhorted her, it's like when he, meaning Esau, had exhorted her with many words, she promised him that she would counsel her son. She said, I'm going to say something to him. And she was wise. This was tact, right? She said, don't worry about it, Esau. I'm going to talk to him. And I'm going to tell him everything that you said. Right? I got you. Right? Verse 27. But she bowing herself towards him, laughing the cruel tyrant to scorn. So she laughed him out, man. Ain't nothing embarrassing than Eve laughing you out, man. That's embarrassing. You try to talk to a sister, she laugh you out. Try you embarrass yourself. And that hurts, man. That cuts. So she was laughing them to scorn. Right? And what did she do? Spake in her country language on this matter. So she went back to the Hebrew. And she did that on purpose, man. She could have spoke, whatever he wanted her to speak. She went back to the Hebrew and said, what? Oh, my son, have pity upon me that bare thee 9 months in the womb, and gave thee suck 3 years, and nourished thee, and brought thee up unto this age, and endured the troubles of education. I beseech thee, my son, look upon the heaven and the earth and all that is therein, and consider that the Most High made them of things that were not, and so was mankind made likewise. Fear not this tormentor, but being worthy of thy brethren, take thy death, that I may receive thee again in mercy with thy brethren. She said, take that death. While she was yet speaking these words, the young man said, whom wait ye for? I will not obey the king's commandment, but I will obey the commandment of the law that was given unto our fathers by Moses. He cut her off, said, with all due respect, ma, right? You know I'm going to die for the laws of the Most High. You don't got to tell me that. Verse 31. And thou, and then he looked at the so-called white man and pointed at him, right? And thou that hast been the author of all mischief against the Hebrews shall not escape the hands of God, for we suffer because of our sins. And though the living Lord be angry with us for a little while for our chastening and correction, yet shall he be at one again with his servants. But thou, O godless man, and of all other most wicked, be not lifted up without a cause, nor puffed up with uncertain hopes, lifting up thy hand against the servants of the Most High. For thou hast yet escaped the judgment, for thou hast not yet escaped the judgment of Almighty God, who seeth all things. For our brethren, who now have suffered a short pain, are dead under the Most High's covenant of everlasting life. But thou, through the judgment of the Most High, shall receive just punishment for thy pride. But I, as my brethren, offer up my body and life for the laws of our fathers, beseeching the Most High that he would speedily be merciful unto our nation, and that thou by torments and plagues mayest confess that he alone is God, and that in me and my brethren the wrath of the Almighty, which is justly brought upon all our nation, may cease. Then the king, being in a rage, see, Esau be in a rage when you don't accept him, even when you don't shake his hand, when you don't welcome him, he's in a rage. How much more when you call the devil to his face, and he know he the devil. So he was in a rage. He was turning red as hell, right? Handled him worse than all the rest, and took it grievously that he was mocked. So this man died undefiled and put his whole trust in Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua. Last of all, after the sons, the mother died. Let this now, let this enough. Let this be enough now to have spoken concerning the idolatrous feast and the extreme tortures. With that, we're going to close up, giving, of course, our honor and glory to Yahweh. Ba'ashima Mashiach Kwamalak Yabashai. Most High willing you are edified. Kwam Yashalom. Shalom.